On January 15th, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, a man was born who would go on to change the course of history for African Americans. Raised by a family of pastors, faith was an important part of his daily life. His name was Martin Luther King Jr. With his values, efforts, courage, and dreams, he changed the lives of millions of people. He fought as no one else had done for the rights of African American people. He attended various segregated public schools in Georgia, graduating from high school at the age of 15, eventually going on to receive a doctorate degree in systematic theology in 1955 from Boston University. In Boston, he met and later married Coretta Scott, with whom he had 4 children. They settled in Montgomery, Alabama, where King became the pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. He always strived for civil rights for the members of his race and became a member of the executive committee of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the leading organization of its kind in the nation. In December 1955, he accepted the leadership of the first biggest Negro nonviolent demonstration of contemporary times in the United States. It all began after a black woman named Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give her seat to a white man on a Montgomery City bus. This incident started a bus boycott that lasted 382 days. Due to his experience, passion for the cause, and position in the community, Martin Luther King had the credentials to emerge as the best African American leader during this long boycott. On December 21, 1956, after a key victory in the Supreme Court of the United States declaring segregation on the buses unconstitutional, black men and whites were treated as equal on-board buses. This was a big victory for the civil rights cause, and King was proved right, as nonviolent methods of protests had achieved unbelievable results. After these historical outcomes, Martin Luther King Jr. became the national face of the civil rights cause. He was jailed more than 20 times, his home was bombed, he was exposed to personal abuse, and his family was endangered several times. However, the threats never stopped him. No matter what happened to him or how tough the situation was for him, Martin Luther King Jr. worked non-stop to promote the cause in which he so strongly believed. He wrote 5 books about his dream and dozens of articles. From 1957 to 1968, he traveled over 6 million miles, delivering 2,500 speeches wherever there was injustice, protest, and action. In these years, he led a massive protest in Birmingham, Alabama, that caught the attention of the entire world, providing what he called a coalition of conscience, and wrote Letter from a Birmingham Jail, a manifesto of the Negro Revolution, and planned the initiative in Alabama for the registration of black people as voters. His perseverance, hard work, efforts, and communication skills earned him the respect of President John F. Kennedy, who personally met with him. Among all the speeches that King delivered, none of them had so much echo and transcendence as his famous speech, "I Have a Dream."
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
He symbolically delivered his speech from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. in 1963, in front of 250,000 people, both black and white, who were part of the peaceful march he led that memorable day. Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded 5 honorary degrees and became such an influential man in America that he was named Man of the Year by Time magazine in 1963. At the age of 35, he became the youngest man ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize. He turned over the prize money of $54,123 to the continuance of the civil rights movement. On the evening of April 4th, 1968, while he was standing on the balcony of his motel room in Memphis, King was assassinated. But his dream didn't die with him. He believed more than anyone in America's democracy, in the Constitution, and in the principles of fairness and opportunity. In 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a proclamation declaring the 3rd Monday of every January Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a public holiday to commemorate the life of this man and what he stood for. He became not only the symbolic leader of America's black people, but also, after his death, a world figure of inspiration and motivation to fulfill dreams and fight for freedom and equal rights. His dream came true. The United States of America proved him right when they changed history after electing in 2008 the first African American president in the history of the country, something that in his time was believed impossible.